I'm JD Hagler with Aux'Arc Climbing, and we're going to do a quick gear review on the 55-liter sport bag from Escape Climbing. This bag was not sent to me for this review. I purchased this bag shortly after it was released. I've been kind of looking for a climbing-specific backpack for a while, and this was what I was looking for. I did not know this was coming down the pipeline, but I'm really glad I held off until I saw this drop. So, the 55-liter sport bag. Escape has been doing a lot of things more than just climbing holds. You can see some Escape holds behind me. I love what they've done with climbing holds, but they've been really pushing the market. They had a bouldering bag, which was a much smaller bag. It came out a while back. It had this same vertical zip length of the bag kind of system, and they recently reintroduced it with this almost waterproof Gore-Tex skin on it. And then when they did that, they also dropped this one pretty shortly after it. The idea of the bag, different from a normal backpack. A regular backpack just unzips from the top. You can open it up a little bit, but you can't actually access everything all at once. You have to unstack everything out of it, find what you wanted, your exercise bands down at the bottom, your med kit for whatever scratch you've got, and then repack it all back in there. You want to change shoes, you got to unpack it, repack it back in, so on and so forth. Every time you unpack it, you run that chance of losing something in the dirt. If your keys are loose in there or whatever, those are things you got to keep in mind. And it's just really a hassle every time you open up that backpack and have to unsort everything and resort it back in by order of importance. A climbing backpack understands that you're going to want to access all of it at any given point. This isn't a hiking pack that you're going to get to your location, unpack, set up your tent, do all that nonsense, and then repack it in the morning. You're going to be in and out of this pack all day. It's almost a climbing workstation in a lot of ways. So this pack tries to answer that. There's a few other options out there, but they're very expensive. They can get up $200, $300. This one drops at a price point of $100. It's very tough to beat. So let's run through the pros and cons of this bag, and we'll get going. So real quick description on the outside of this thing before we get to the key features here. It does have this almost waterproof exterior. This here is waterproof. Water just runs right off this. I left it out in the rain for a while, and it just, man, you just see the water drops skiing down the sides. I say almost waterproof because the top has a big hole in the top where you would do a drawstring closure on it. This will allow you to pack more than what really the bag is designed for if you're really pushing it. And then you can kind of roll it and run the strap over the top to compress it all down. Water doesn't really leak through here, but if you were to pour a cup of water on top of it or try to run through a waterfall, you're probably going to get some water through the top of this and into your stuff. So not 100% waterproof, but if you're hiking to a place in a rain or, you know, get a little bit of moisture in the air, you're probably going to get there and your stuff's going to be dry. It'll be okay. It's pretty comfortable to wear. This isn't an ultralight backpack, so let's not pretend it is. It's got good padding for your back, normal shoulder straps. You see I've got something a little bit different on mine. This is a Peak Designs camera mount where I can keep my camera located, you know, where I have an eye on it, where I'm maneuvering through trees or rocks and I'm not banging my expensive camera around. So this is something I added. And then you have these hip pockets for some exterior storage, which is great for wallets, keys, whatever it is. Some of the main storage on the outside of this backpack. The only other storage you have on this backpack is these loops for a clip stick. And then you have this real thin exterior pocket. I really don't keep a whole lot in this. I've got some, like, in this case, Tums that I keep right out here. And then I have a real small bottle of hand sanitizer that sits in the bottom of this here. I don't keep a lot in here. Because this material doesn't stretch, this top section here does not have a lot of stretch. So you're not going to have a lot of things in here. Maybe a folded up map of the area that you printed or something like that. So not a lot of storage in this outer section, but it is there. Then we get to the main feature of this guy. I'm going to do the strap here. This is what makes this thing a climbing backpack. Everything else you've had to unzip across the top, open it up, unstack, restack. From here, I'm going to open this thing up, pull the Velcro, and now I have complete access to all my climbing gear, right? I'm not have this leveled approach to it. It's all right here. On the inside of this pocket we talked about, you've got a lot more storage. You can put a lot more bulkier stuff in here. I've got a couple of headlamps, my goggles, my AA, AAA collection. Put this back in. This material here is softer, so you can really it can handle a little bit bulkier items. Another great product from Escape, this headlamp. And then we can open this up to go with our stuff. So I got, in this particular thing, I've got 2 pairs of shoes. I just had this at the Crag, so this is my bag dump essentially. And then my rope tarp. I got a picture of the rope tarp I'll show up here when I'm unfurling this thing. I'm carrying a 40-meter dry rope in this right now, tucked down here in the bottom. This tarp comes with the bag. It says big escape climbing on it. It's got a green and a red line for you to tie it into your rope tube. Works great. No complaints there. It's nice that it comes with the bag, saves some money that way. It stays bundled up, goes in the very bottom of the bag. And I'm in the bag. That's it. I've unpacked all my stuff. I've got access to it. I don't normally unpack it. I do this for the video, but it's all accessible. My stuff's all right here, and I can rummage in it and find what I need really quickly without having to unpack everything else. So I'm gonna throw it back in. Put my harness up front in case I really want to access it quickly. You do want to keep this bag somewhat narrow so it re-zips easily. That's something to keep in mind. We'll come back to that later. So, one of the things I really love about this design that's really well thought out by Escape is this red strap right here. I can grab this and start pulling this zipper down. Make sure everything's kind of pre-compressed before you start doing that. You're not going to just grab this strap and just zip compress the whole thing. Okay, so pay attention to your zipper. Punch myself. There. I forgot my band, right? So I'll hop back in real quick. I've got access to what I want. Throw it in here. Doesn't really matter where it goes. Zip it back up. So when I hop back in there, I can open it up, I can get my harness out. I want to open it back up, pull a different set of shoes out. I want to pull it out and look at the guidebook real quick. It's all right there. It's not a whole lot to just dump it back in there, zip it. I'm not doing this unstacking and restacking thing that I do with a normal backpack. It's so much easier to navigate this. And this is what makes it a climbing backpack over a normal hiking backpack. You'll start looking at other backpacks that have vertical length zippers, and they just start getting expensive. There's a couple other brands out there that do it, and it's just ridiculous. So, the pros and cons of this thing. The pros, I love the exterior. I love this waterproof exterior. I love these hip pockets. I love this strap right here that lets me kind of work the whole thing. I really like the storage here is well thought out, especially that inside piece where your loose items can all be contained. I just like the overall design of the bag. I think this is a great bag for $100. The price point is probably the biggest thing. This is a great bag for $100. This should be your 4th, 5th, 6th item that you pick up. You start climbing, you start doing your gym to crag transition, you've got your harness, your shoes, belay, you pick up a rope. What's the next thing you should pick up? When you're talking about a backpack to get all your stuff out there, this is it. For $100, you can't beat this. You're going to come with rope tarp, you're going to have a place to put your rope, you're going to have something that's waterproof for the most part, you're going to have something that holds a clip stick, you're going to have something that you can rip open and access very quickly and navigate and store all your items. That's something everybody else who's just shoehorning an old backpack into that role. This is it. The cons of this, and there's a couple. I don't like these loops. I don't like fishing my clip stick through these loops and then retightening them, and they don't really stay tight anyways and just flops around. What I'm probably going to do is pull these loops out and put carabiners to these rubber pieces here, and then just clip my clip stick to it and quit playing that game. I don't care for these straps. That's one complaint. Not a big deal. I have a solution for it. Another complaint that I have, this is the first backpack that doesn't have a carry handle right here. It's something I can navigate pretty easy. I can really just grab this strap and pick it up, but if I want to put it, you're just picking it up and throwing it in the back of your truck or in the back of your Trailblazer, or you're picking it up and moving it from this climb, 4 or 5 climbs over to this climb. You don't want to really put it back on your back. You just want to carry it over. This carry handle will be for that. If you're wanting to lower it down into a canyon or pull it back up at the end of the day, depending on where you're climbing at, that's a thing that we've done before. You don't have an anchor point on this bag for that. You could use these, I suppose, but you lose a lot of control that's available, and I don't like that. I really wish there's a carry handle up here for this. I may try and figure something out, tie something in here. I don't know, maybe some webbing or something like that. That's something I wish this backpack had. Another complaint with this strap right here, that's supposed to hold down the top, I think is kind of a poor design. So if I get it in here and we really tighten this thing up as much as we can, it doesn't actually stay tight. It can be pulled loose from wherever. There's nothing in here that keeps this thing tight. I think this buckle is not a very good design. It loops in okay, but as far as actually keeping this thing tight, I can grab anywhere in this strap, or just bumping it around loosens it up. And now, if you're trying to rely on this to keep water out, it's not really going to do that. So if you're in a place that you're going to expect a ton of rain, or you're planning on hiking to your climb through a waterfall, be cognizant of that. Another complaint that I have on this system, and really I think the main one, is this zipper here can be pretty finicky. It's not very robust. You can't just grab this and then just zip the whole thing and compress it. These zippers aren't tough enough for that. They are finicky. You probably saw me working it. I had to unzip and rezip a few times because there was something underneath it that was pushing against it. So you need to have your stuff pretty well organized before you zip it up and then kind of work it closed. I really wish that zipper was a lot more robust. I want to be, if I'm out there and this ease of access is the big thing about this bag, I want to unzip it, get my stuff out and rezip it. It annoys me that the zipper is not as robust as the rest of the bag is. So that's something to be aware of. And I think it's probably what's going to end the lifespan of this bag first. I think this zipper is just going to be unworkable at some point in the next 3 or 4 years. For the price point, I'm okay with that. But I do think that that's an area of improvement to be looked at in the future. But does that mean I give it less than 4 out of 5 stars? It absolutely doesn't. I wrote a review on this initially, and I did. I love this bag. I think this is a great bag. I think this is a great buy. I don't think you're going to get a better bang for your buck. I think in order to get all the comparable features out of another bag, you're looking at $200 to $300. The competitors are tough. It's expensive to get out there and get a climbing dedicated bag. And they may not be waterproof either. This one is. They may not come with a rope tarp. This one does. There's a lot of things that Escape did very well with this bag, and I love it. I think that's great. This is a tough to beat bag unless you're just willing to throw a ton of money at another solution. I loved having this thing out there. It rained on us all day long on the first time I had it out, and this bag held up wonderfully. Just being able to open it up and leave it open for where we're on our climb, kind of work out of the bag, change shoes, put stuff back in there, have food, all that nonsense. Just work out of the bag, throw everything back in that I had taken out, zip it up and call it a day without having to stack things back in or restack them. The exercise band and other stuff that just doesn't get used a whole lot because it was almost inaccessible in another bag, this solves that. I think this is a great bag. I think as soon as you have a harness and shoes and a rope, I think you should be getting one of these. And that's all I got to say about that bag. Escape's doing some really cool things. They're making a lot more climbing holds at this point. They're into the electronics with the headlamps. They're doing the bags. They got another boulder bag version of this. It's quite a bit smaller. There's a lot of things Escape is doing and doing well, and I think you got to pay attention to as a company coming up and really stepping out of just the climbing holds market. They're trying to become a one-stop shop. They're selling chalk, liquid chalk. Both are the main ones that I use, and now this bag. So again, this was not sent to me for review. I purchased this guy, and I'm super happy I did. So go look at it, price it out, wait for a Black Friday maybe, grab this bag. Thanks. We'll see you guys on the bluff.